Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadi alladhina istafa. One of the things that we read, beautiful ayah of the Quran that was recited is Inna alladhina farraqu dinahum wa kanu shi'a ila akhir al-ayah. It is towards the end of Surah An'am that this ayah is made mention, and it's a very beautiful ayah in the sense that it calls upon us to reflect and ask ourselves, what type of people are we? And this is very important because as humans, we all are prone to make mistakes. And this is the idea of Ramadan. Ramadan comes for a purpose to help us rectify who we are and make us into better people. This is something we all understand. However, there is a disease among some people where Allah says they are sort of made in such a way that if they don't create conflict in society, then they are not who they are. You know, every family has this one person, or every community has this one person. Every nation, you'll notice, has this one person that just knows on how to divide people. And one of the ways they divide people is they come up with things that are total innovations, total newness, things that are new, not to develop and bring together people, but rather things that are to divide people with their supposed newness. And Allah is saying that even amongst my ummah, or those that claim to be part of the ummah, there are those that will come up with totally new things to just make people feel emotional. I'll give you a simple example. Someone may tell you, you gotta go to so-and-so's grave. Why do I need to go to so-and-so's grave? Well, he or she was a very pious individual, a good individual. Therefore, you must go to that grave and do some type of worship over there. And because of that, you'll become a great individual. In Islam, this is called innovation. Now, I'm not saying don't go to someone's grave. If you happen to be in the area, it's nice to go to the graveyard. It's rewarding to go to the graveyard. There's a lot of merit in reflecting upon death. Death is a breaker, especially of unwanted desires. But it's how we do it. So Allah in the Quran says, do not be amongst those people that creates conflict through innovation, wrongful innovation, known as bid'at or bid'ah. And this is occurring on a very rampant scale. And one of the reasons why we go towards all these innovations is because sometimes we get tired and bored, or so we feel, about the regular stuff. I'll give you a simple example. You tell a person perform 5 daily salah. No, I don't see virtue in it. Okay, that's your personal opinion. Yet that same guy, or even woman at times, in Ramadan, they'll pray all night doing nafil. And you say, brother, sister, what's making you pray all night? Oh, I feel good and I feel connected to Allah. I call this lopsided priorities. You know, my brothers and sisters, if you perform your farz salah and you never performed a single nightly prayer besides what has been documented and recorded, for example, the Taraweeh or the farz salah, etc. If you choose not to perform anything besides these things versus another individual that is neglectful of the 5 daily prayer, is neglectful intentionally without reason of the Taraweeh Salah, and this person chose to pray all night 2 rakats nafil, scholars will agree that that person that just did what was necessary in the eyes of Allah would be more superior than that person that performed 2 prayers all night on an emotional basis. Why? Because our religion is not an emotional religion. It's a logical religion. It's a good religion. It's a religion that has certain fundamentals. Another example is a guy who refuses to give inheritance to his brothers and sisters and thereafter gives $1,000 in charity to help out the poor. Now let me ask you, who's going to get the reward here? Can you get reward if you steal the inheritor's money and you give it in charity? It doesn't work that way. Now, of course, at the end of the day, Allah gives reward to whoever Allah wishes to give. But at the same time, our religion is very balanced. It's like a person that refuses to fast in Ramadan, but wants to fast besides the month of Ramadan and shows off to people, I'm fasting. It's called lopsided priorities. So Allah says in the Quran, don't be amongst those that divide. Don't be amongst those that do and take part in bid'ah. Don't be amongst those that innovate. Just do what is necessary and do it the way Allah wants you to do it. And that can become a means of you and I, inshallah, going into paradise. In Ruh al-Ma'ani, a beautiful place to gain explanation of the Quran, we learn something very important, and it is quoted over there that Imam Tirmidhi makes mention where Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is talking to Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, may Allah bless them both, as well as every member of the family of the Prophet of Allah, and every good person that has ever left this world, including prophets, saints, and all good people. May Allah shower mercy upon them all. Says the following, that, O Aisha, radiallahu ta'ala anha, and I'll just give you the mafhum or understanding of this, that one group of people that Allah will not forgive. Now in the Quran we know, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَن يَشَاءُ. That Allah will forgive everything except for shirk. And in this given hadith we learn from Tirmidhi that Allah will forgive pretty much everything, of course besides shirk, except for the one that takes part in innovations. They love innovations. Go to the grave and do this, and when someone dies you must do that. And like for example, there's some tradition that I've seen people create. When people die, they start throwing Zamzam water in the grave, and other people will start putting certain prayer mats in the grave with the one that has died. My brothers and sisters, if you didn't pray when you were alive, are you think you're going to pray in the grave? I mean, it's something for us to think about. And of course, I know all of us do pray, mashallah. So that prayer that we are doing will help us in the grave. But the prayer mat, I don't know about that. So all these new things people do. One fellow, he threw a tasbih, the misbah, the thing that we read, subhanallah with. He threw that in the grave. So I said, brother, what's making you throw that in the grave? He says, well, my so-and-so used to read a lot of tasbih. That's why I'm putting that in the grave. Now, this is not Islam, or this is not part of deen. Yes, if the tasbih falls in the grave, the misbah falls in the grave, that's a separate issue and you cannot get it out. I understand that. But to be doing all these things and thinking it is part of religion, the hadith is very clear. The sin of this is very, very great. So today's Taraweeh part, or today's part, is very beautiful and simple. Let's hold on to doing what is called for us to do. Number one, let's stay away from that which we are called upon to stay away from. And if you ever get bored of following things, trust me, there are a lot of things out there that we can follow. And it is far more superior than creating new things out there just to sort of excite and create an emotional brand of religion. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us and guide us at all times. Wa akhir da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.